That's 6 now. 6 survivors of Raccoon City, all dead from the same thing.
Yeah, that's not good. Victor purchased a building after Umbrella went under.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're doing an in-depth analysis of Resident Evil 9, Requiem, focusing on the two most crucial trailers that reveal the heart of this game's story, Trailer 4 and Trailer 2 from Gamescom, which introduced us to the gameplay and narrative foundation. We're going deep into Leon's Raccoon City Syndrome, the mysterious child Emily and her connection to Evelyn, Victor Gideon's terrifying link to Mother Miranda and Rose Winters, and Grace Ashcroft's investigation that ties everything together. So grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's dive into the darkest chapter of Resident Evil yet.
We're running out of time.
State of Play event delivered what might be the most disturbing Resident Evil trailer we've ever seen. Trailer 4 opens with close-up shots of Leon S. Kennedy, and immediately, something is horrifically wrong. His skin has discolored patches, gray, decaying flesh visible on his hand creeping up toward his neck. This isn't a temporary infection or a scratch that'll heal. This is cellular breakdown happening in real time. The trailer confirms what the community has been speculating. Leon is suffering from Raccoon City Syndrome, abbreviated as RCS. This is a newly introduced medical condition affecting survivors of the original 1998 Raccoon City outbreak, and it's essentially a death sentence on a delayed timer. Understanding Raccoon City Syndrome, let me break down the science of what's happening to Leon's body. Raccoon City Syndrome occurs when dormant T-virus strains that have been suppressed by a survivor's immune system and antibodies for decades suddenly become resistant and reactivate. The virus essentially evolves inside the host's body, adapting to bypass the very defenses that kept it dormant for nearly 28 years. Now, Leon was never canonically bitten during the Raccoon City incident in Resident Evil 2. But here's the critical detail most people overlook. The T-virus is extraordinarily infectious. It doesn't require a zombie bite to enter your system. Scratches from infected creatures, tiny drops of contaminated blood making contact with your eyes or mouth, or even airborne exposure during the early stages of infection can introduce the virus into your body. Think about Leon's experience during that nightmare September in 1998. He fought through the Raccoon City Police Department, which was literally overflowing with zombies. Blood splattered everywhere. He engaged in close-quarters combat with lickers, fought through sewers filled with biological contamination, and navigated Umbrella's underground laboratories where the T-virus was cultivated. The statistical probability that he received scratches, got infected blood in his eyes, or inhaled contaminated particles is essentially 100%. For 28 years, Leon's immune system has been fighting a silent war against trace amounts of T-virus in his body. His antibodies have been winning until now. The trailer suggests something triggered the reactivation, and based on the timeline, Resident Evil, Death Island is the likely culprit. In Death Island, Leon was infected with a modified T-virus strain and subsequently treated with an antiviral cure. At the time, it seemed like he'd dodged another bullet. But that cure likely disrupted the delicate equilibrium his immune system had maintained for decades. The treatment may have weakened his natural antibodies. Or worse, the modified virus could have merged with the dormant strain, creating a hybrid infection his body can't suppress.
We're running out of time.
Now both the original dormant T-virus and remnants of the Death Island strain are active simultaneously, overwhelming his immune response. The gray discoloration we see in Trailer 4 is necrotizing tissue. His cells are literally dying as the virus consumes them from the inside. The ticking clock, the most heartbreaking aspect of Trailer 4, is Sherry Birkin's appearance. Sherry, who Leon and Claire saved during the Raccoon City incident, now grown and working as a government agent, tells Leon that time is running short. Her voice carries a weight of urgency and desperation that hits hard. This isn't just another mission briefing. This is someone telling a friend they're running out of time to save their life. What's particularly interesting is that Sherry is wearing gloves throughout the trailer. Her hands are completely covered, which raises an obvious question. Is she hiding the same gray discoloration? Sherry was exposed to both the T virus and her father William Birkin's G virus during the Raccoon City incident. She received experimental treatment that saved her life and gave her regenerative abilities. But those treatments don't make her immune to RCS. They might actually make her more vulnerable as her modified biology struggles to maintain equilibrium. The trailer dialogue indicates Leon has been specifically called back to Raccoon City. Not sent, called back. This implies he's going there voluntarily, seeking something he believes might save him, and that something is connected to Victor Gideon's operations in the ruins of the city. When we're introduced to Emily, she appears as a young girl, maybe 8 or 9 years old, wearing a plain hospital gown. Her expression is vacant, almost doll-like, and she's standing in what appears to be a decrepit medical facility. The setting immediately recalls Resident Evil 7's Baker estate, that same feeling of decay, moisture, and something fundamentally wrong with the environment. But Emily isn't alone. The trailer reveals multiple children in identical hospital gowns, all with the same vacant expressions, all appearing to be subjects of some kind of experimentation. They're in various states, some standing motionless, others strapped to medical equipment, and disturbingly, we see glimpses of the hag, a grotesque enemy type that appears to be an advanced stage of whatever transformation these children are undergoing. The costume design is deliberate. Emily's hospital gown is nearly identical to the hag's tattered clothing, suggesting they're the same type of entity at different points in the mutation process. Emily represents the before, while the hag shows us the horrifying after. The Evelyn connection now, the question everyone is asking, is Emily actually Evelyn? The answer is definitively no. Evelyn, designation E001, died at the Baker estate in Louisiana during the events of Resident Evil 7. Ethan Winters destroyed her with a specialized toxin after she'd aged rapidly and lost control of her mold abilities. Evelyn is gone, but Emily represents something arguably more disturbing, a continuation of the program that created Evelyn. To understand this, we need to revisit the lore of Resident Evil 7 and 8. Evelyn was developed by the Connections, a shadow bioweapons organization, using a mold sample supplied by Mother Miranda. This mold wasn't ordinary fungus. It was the megamycete, a superorganism with reality-bending properties that Miranda discovered in a European village centuries ago. Miranda used this mold to create Kadu parasites and experimented on villagers, attempting to find a perfect vessel to resurrect her dead daughter, Eva. When the Connections approached Miranda seeking her mold research, she provided them with samples. They combined the mold with DNA from Miranda's deceased daughter Eva to create the E-Series bioweapons. Evelyn was the first successful prototype, a child who could produce mold, infect others, control their minds, and manifest hallucinations. She could create families by forcibly bonding infected individuals to her will. But Evelyn had a fatal flaw: accelerated aging. She appeared as a 10-year-old child, and her body aged rapidly, causing her to lose control and become the monstrous creature Ethan faced. To Miranda, Evelyn was merely a stepping stone, proof of concept that mold-human hybridization could work, but not the perfected vessel she sought.
Are you remembering?
That perfected vessel was Rose Winters. Rose is the biological daughter of Ethan and Mia Winters, but Ethan himself was a mold entity after being killed and resurrected by Evelyn's mold in RE7. Rose inherited his mold-based biology combined with Mia's human DNA and her own exposure to the megamycete, making her a naturally occurring mold-human hybrid. Unlike Evelyn, Rose is stable, ages normally, and possesses incredible powers. She can manipulate mold, control environments, manifest physical constructs, and even influence reality within mold-infected zones.
Because my master made you who you are.
Victor Gideon, through his work with the Connections, and possibly through direct access to Miranda's research notes recovered from the European village, has become what we might call a pupil of Miranda's techniques. He's not literally her student, but he's following her blueprint, searching for perfect vessels, conducting mass experiments to identify compatible hosts, and attempting to create stable mold-human hybrids. The key phrase here is Rose was created. In Resident Evil Village's lore, Miranda viewed Rose not as a person, but as a manufactured vessel. Rose's unique biology, combining Ethan's mold-based existence with natural human development, made her the perfect host Miranda had spent a century searching for. Gideon understands this. He knows Rose represents the successful endpoint of Miranda's research, and he's attempting to achieve the same result through forced experimentation on children like Emily. The Elpis Virus. Trailer 4 also introduces or reinforces the concept of the Elpis Virus, which appears to be Gideon's specific strain or variation of mold-based infection. Elpis is Greek for hope. In mythology, it was the last thing remaining in Pandora's box after all evils escaped into the world. The symbolism is deliberate and twisted. Gideon's experiments are positioned as hope, perhaps a cure for conditions like Raccoon City Syndrome, or a way to grant humans enhanced abilities to survive in a bioweapon-contaminated world. But that hope comes at a horrific cost. Children used as test subjects, forced mutations, and the creation of monsters like the hag. The Elpis virus likely combines mold properties with traditional viral components, attempting to create a controllable infection that grants powers without the rejection and mutation that killed most of Miranda's test subjects. If Gideon has successfully refined Miranda's techniques, Elpis could represent a stabilized version of mold infection, one that creates controllable, powerful hybrids without the instability that plagued Evelyn or the horrors of the hag transformations. Why Leon returns to Raccoon City. Trailer 4 makes it clear that Leon's return to Raccoon City is directly connected to Victor Gideon's operations. Given Leon's RCS diagnosis and Gideon's expertise in viral manipulation through mold technology, the connection becomes obvious. Leon believes Gideon might have a cure. Think about the logic from Leon's perspective. He's dying from a T-virus reactivation that conventional medicine can't treat. His own antibodies have been overwhelmed, and standard antivirals failed. But Gideon is conducting experiments that involve integrating mold with human biology, creating entities with regenerative properties and resistance to conventional bioweapons. The mold's ability to consume and replace organic tissue might be able to combat the T-virus at a cellular level. There's also the possibility that Gideon has specifically developed the Elpis virus as a treatment for RCS. If multiple Raccoon City survivors are experiencing reactivation, it would create a pool of desperate test subjects willing to undergo experimental treatment. Gideon could be positioning himself as humanity's savior, offering the only cure for a condition that's killing the heroes who survived the original outbreak. But this raises the horrifying question, what does Gideon want in exchange? Based on the lore connections, Gideon's obsession is with Rose Winters. He wants to replicate her abilities or possibly capture her for his experiments. If Leon comes seeking a cure, Gideon might demand information about Rose's location, access to government files on Ethan Winters and the village incident, or even demand that Leon help capture Rose as payment for the treatment. The trailer shows Leon in the ruins of Raccoon City, navigating through environments that are both familiar and transformed. The RPD building, the city streets, these locations are haunted by his past and now represent his potential future. The symbolism is powerful. Leon returned to Raccoon City as a rookie cop in 1998, survived by sheer determination, and now he's returning as a dying veteran, forced to confront both literal and metaphorical ghosts. What about Claire Redfield and Hunk? Trailer 4 doesn't explicitly show Claire Redfield or Hunk, but leaked information confirms her involvement in Requiem. She reunites with Leon at the destroyed Raccoon City Police Department, suggesting she's also been drawn back to the city. The question of whether Claire has RCS is unresolved in the trailers, but the logic is inescapable. Claire experienced the exact same conditions as Leon during the Raccoon City outbreak. She fought through zombie-infested streets, the RPD, and Umbrella's underground labs. She had extensive exposure to T-virus and G-virus contamination. If the virus can lie dormant in Leon for 28 years, it can do the same to Claire. Claire's involvement likely means she's either experiencing early RCS symptoms, is at high risk and seeking preventative treatment, or is desperately trying to save Leon before it's too late. Given their shared history and the bond they formed surviving Raccoon City together, Claire wouldn't abandon Leon now. If there's even a chance Gideon's experiments can save him, she'd return to that nightmare city to help. Gamescom's Foundation. Now let's examine Trailer 2, which premiered at Gamescom opening night live on August 18, 2025. While Trailer 4 gave us the horrifying revelations about Leon and Gideon's experiments, Trailer 2 established the narrative foundation through Grace Ashcroft's story. Grace is the daughter of Alyssa Ashcroft, the journalist from Resident Evil Outbreak, who covered the Raccoon City incident. 8 years before Requiem's events, Alyssa was murdered at a hotel. Now Grace, working as an FBI agent, has been assigned to investigate an unidentified disease causing victims' faces to melt off, and the investigation leads her to the exact hotel where her mother died. This isn't coincidence. The connections have been operating in and around Raccoon City for decades, using the ruins and the stigma surrounding the location as cover for their experiments. Alyssa likely discovered something about their operations during her investigative journalism, making her a threat that had to be eliminated. Grace's assignment to investigate the disease outbreak is pulling her into the same conspiracy that killed her mother. Trailer 2 shows Grace and Alyssa, likely in flashback sequences, navigating through a building with no power, using flashlights to cut through oppressive darkness. The gameplay emphasizes resource management, stealth mechanics, and environmental navigation. Grace moves cautiously, conserving ammunition, avoiding detection by creatures lurking in shadows. The emotional core of this trailer is the mother-daughter relationship. Grace is literally walking in her mother's footsteps, uncovering the truth Alyssa died trying to expose. The parallel narratives, Grace in the present investigating the disease, and flashbacks showing Alyssa's original investigation, create a layered story about legacy, sacrifice, and the cost of pursuing truth. What's particularly significant knowing about Trailer 4's revelations is that Grace is called the Chosen One by an unidentified figure. This phrase directly mirrors the language surrounding Rose Winters and Emily. It suggests Grace isn't just an investigator stumbling into a conspiracy. She might be specifically targeted by Gideon's organization, potentially as another test subject for mold human hybridization. Think about it. Grace is the daughter of an outbreak survivor. Alyssa survived Raccoon City, experienced T-virus exposure, and lived for years afterward before being murdered. If RCS is hereditary, or if exposure creates genetic markers that pass to offspring, Grace might possess biological traits that make her compatible with mold integration. Gideon might have orchestrated her investigation specifically to bring her to his facility. The return to true horror.
Keep moving.
Trailer 2 showcases gameplay that represents a significant shift from mainline Resident Evil. While RE7 and RE Village embraced first-person horror, and the RE2 and RE3 remakes updated classic third-person action horror, Requiem appears to be emphasizing stealth, resource scarcity, and vulnerability.
I've been watching you.
Grace moves through environments with limited ammunition and health supplies. Enemies patrol areas, forcing players to choose between combat and evasion. The lighting system creates pools of shadow where creatures hide, making every corridor a potential ambush site. The RE engine delivers photorealistic environments that enhance the horror. You can see moisture on walls, dust particles in flashlight beams, and the subtle movements of creatures lurking just beyond your vision. This represents Resident Evil returning to its survival horror roots while incorporating modern design sensibilities. You're not an unstoppable action hero. You're an investigator in over your head, desperately trying to survive while uncovering a conspiracy that threatens everything. Resident Evil 9 Requiem launches in just 2 weeks on February 27, 2026.
It hasn't
These trailers
been
have
easy.
revealed a story that connects nearly 30 years of
But
horror.
after much effort,
Leon Kennedy
here
is
we
dying from
finally
Raccoon
are.
City Syndrome, forced to return
Who
to
are
the
you?
site of his greatest nightmare,
I know now that
seeking
you're
a
the one
cure
that
from
I've been
Victor
searching
Gideon's
for.
twisted experiment.
The special one.
Emily and the other
chosen
children
one.
represent Gideon's attempts
It's
to
Ashcroft.
those winters. The perfect mold-human hybrid that Mother Miranda spent a century trying to create. And Grace Ashcroft's investigation into her mother's
Talk to me.
murder
Is
is
this
pulling
one like
her
the
into
others?
the center of the Connections operations, where
And
she
it's
might
not
become
post-mortem
the next
lividity.
test subject in Gideon's search for the Chosen One. This is Resident Evil at its darkest.
Hey, I just got a
story about
report of a
heroes
missing police
confronting
officer.
their mortality, the legacy of past
It might
horrors
be
that
unrelated,
never
but he
truly
disappeared
died,
near where the
and the
fifth
price
body
of
was found.
survival in a world where bioweapons have made humanity itself obsolete. What do you think is
Through
going to
you,
happen? Drop your predictions in the comments.
Elpis can
Hit that
finally
like
be
button and subscribe for more deep dives when the game
set
launches.
free.
I'll see you in the next one.
The team has settled on a person of interest. Someone with ties to Umbrella. Victor Gideon.